Hello everybody, how are you? So welcome back or welcome for the first time to the Smrt Life class. This is pre-intermediate level and my name is Nicole. So it's so nice to see so many people here in the chat. Today we're going to talk about prepositions. So last class, we started talking about prepositions, but it's a really big topic. So we will continue talking about prepositions today. We're going to start with prepositions of place. Last time we talked about in and at, and today we're going to focus on. And then we'll start doing some prepositions of time, which should be very exciting. All right, so just so you know, if you want more stuff from your Smrt Life class, if you want quizzes and tests and homework and video feedback and a certificate, you can get these things by becoming a premium subscriber. So a premium subscriber gets lots and lots of extra stuff from the Smrt Life class. So if you want to be a premium subscriber, you can go to this website here and you can try 1 month for free if you're interested. And of course, you can always watch the videos for free too. All right, are you ready to get started? Yay, me too. All right, so we're going to begin with the preposition on. Here we go. So we can use on to say things like on the table or on the floor, because table and floor are surfaces, and I'll write that word for you. I know most people maybe know this word, but maybe some people don't. So a surface is like the top or the outside of something. So for example, let's see, what can I show you? I have my cup here. So this outside part is the surface. So on this side of my cup, there's a design. So I can say the design is on the cup because it's the outside, the surface. So that's why we say things like on the floor or on the table, because it's the surface of the table. It can also mean like the top part. So good, on the table, on the floor. We can also say on the ground. Just like on the floor, we can say on the ground. So the ground is this part. It's where the dirt or the grass or the floor is. This is the ground. All right, let's do a few more and then we'll stop and I'll answer questions. We can also say like on my head. Like in this picture, the books are on her head. Again, the top or the surface of her head. And we can say on the wall, because again, the wall is a surface and the pictures are on the wall. A few other reasons that we use on, we can say on for a different kind of floor. Not just floor for the ground, but floor for a level of a building. So for example, buildings maybe have a first floor, a second floor, third floor, fourth floor. There are different levels of the building. And we use on to talk about floors. We also use on to talk about the ceiling. Again, the ceiling is a surface, just like the floor. The ceiling is the top of a room. The floor is the bottom of a room. And for both ceiling and floor, we can say on. And here it says on the door. Maybe you remember from last time, we also said at the door. At the door is for a person. So if I'm right here, knock, 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 we can say Nicole is at the door. But if we're talking about a thing on the surface of the door, like this right here. So we see, I don't know if you can see the blue colored circle on the door. This is called a wreath. I'll spell that for you. A wreath is a kind of decoration. You often see it at Christmas time. So a wreath is a kind of decoration you see at Christmas time. So we can say the wreath is on the door because it's on the surface of the door. So for people, say at. For a sign or a wreath or some kind of thing, we can say on if it's on the surface. All right. Okay, just a few more things to learn. We talked a lot about this last time. We often use on plus vehicles. Vehicles are like airplanes and buses. So let's look at a few examples. We can say on a bicycle, on a train, on a skateboard, on a bus, on a motorcycle, but we don't say on for cars or taxis or limousines, anything that's a car or very much like a car. So car, truck, taxi, limousine, we say in. But for most other vehicles, we say on. Let me make a little list for you in our notes. So for most vehicles, we're going to say on. But there are some exceptions where we use in. We can use in for cars, again, taxis, limos, trucks, vans. Also for personal boats. A personal boat, like a rowboat, that's the one where you go like this. Or like a kayak or a canoe. These are some examples for small personal boats. We can say in. But for almost all other vehicles, bus, train, airplane, skateboard, we're going to say on. Whew. Okay, I just have one or two more things to teach you, and then we'll stop and talk. All right, here we go. We also use on for streets, roads, avenues, any kind of word that means street. Like boulevard is what we call some streets. Any word that means street or road, we can say on. Here are some examples. We can say on Georgia Street, on Scott Road, on the highway, on Wilson Drive. Drive, again, is just another kind of street. On 22nd Avenue. Anything like that, we can say on to talk about streets and roads and avenues. All right, so we'll stop there for a moment. we can talk a little bit more about on. So let's review. We can use on for tables, like on the table. Before we also said at the table, but remember at the table is for a person, on the table is for a thing. We can use on for floor, meaning the ground, or floor, meaning the level of a building. We use on for the ground. Use on for like on your head. On the wall, on the ceiling, on the door. Again, if it's a thing, not a person. For vehicles, but not cars, or personal boats. I'll say that here. I'll say, or small personal boats. And also for streets, roads, etc. So now I'm going to write some examples. I'm going to copy any examples that you wrote in the chat and put them here on the screen. And I'm going to take a moment to look and see if we have any questions so far. So first, let's see if we have any questions. All right. Oh, wow. So many comments. Let's see. Well, Rosa says that she hates prepositions. I'm sorry. So many people hate prepositions because they're so difficult. Prepositions of place and prepositions of time are a little easier. The really hard part is prepositions that go with specific verbs, because those you just have to memorize one by one, and it's really hard. So good. Let's see, what else? On time, very good. That's a good expression, David, on time. And we can talk more about that when we talk about the prepositions of time, but on time is a phrase that means not late. It's the opposite of late. So the opposite of late is on time. Very good. Let's see. On the surface. So good, a few people talk about surfaces in the chat. And again, a surface is just the outside of something. And we almost always use on to talk about surfaces. Very good. Let's see. The French Leo says, on Monday, where is the surface? That's a great question. We're going to talk about time soon. So the second half of this lesson is prepositions of time. So now we're talking just about prepositions of place. And when we talk about surfaces, a surface is a place. We also use on for time, for days and dates, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Good. Let's see. Very nice. Good. Let's see. Steffi says the pillows are on the bed. Good. So on here is the surface of the bed. So we can imagine that the bed is like this, and the pillows are on the surface, on the top. So very good. We can say, and I'll add that to our notes, on the bed. Very good. All right. Let's see. On the last floor, she stays. Or I might just put the she stays first, but very good. She stays on the last floor. Very good. So floor, again, is the level of a building. Very nice. Let's see. Vivek wrote an example. It says she was at the door. Good, because for a person we say at. But her picture was on the door. Perfect, because picture is a thing. And it looks more beautiful than her. Oh, that's so sad. You don't have to write that part. But good, great example, Vivek. Very nice. Let's see. Stephen has a question. It says, does on only mean something over something? Can we use it when something touches or contacts something else? That's a great question. So we can talk about the difference between over and on. On, we usually use when there's contact, when something touches. So when something touches or contacts the surface of something. But over is the opposite. Over usually doesn't touch or contact the surface of something. And I'll show you an example. Let's see. I have my coffee cup here. Okay. And I have my cell phone. So my phone is on the cup because they're touching together. But if I go like this, now my phone is over the cup because they're not touching, they're not connected, there's no contact. So I'll just write those two sentences here. My first sentence was, the phone is on the cup, and that's when they're touching. Or the phone is over the cup, means they're not touching. That's a great question, Stephen. Very good. All right, let's see what else. So Nandish asked, is the show still on? Good. So let me write that here. Is the show still on? And here, this is a different meaning of on. This meaning of on means like continuing or going. So we're not talking about a place, but yes, this is correct. That's another meaning of the word on. Good. Let's see, what else? So Bispo asks, can I say on the sea? Good question. On the sea. Usually, we say in for the sea. So for example, maybe he fell in the sea. But we could say on if we're talking about the surface. So we could say, for example, the boat bobbed on the sea. Bob is like to sort of bounce a little bit. And we often see boats do this. Do, 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 do. The boat bobbed on the sea. We could say that if our focus is on the surface of the water. If you're talking about like inside the water, then we're going to say in. So good question. Let's see. Good. So Steffi has a question about it's and is. It's not prepositions, but it's a very easy question to answer, so I'll answer it real quick. So it's and is are a little bit different. So it's means it is. That's all. It just includes the subject it. And is doesn't include the subject it. You could use it with other subjects, like he. You could say he is, or she is, or you could say it is, or you could put that together for its. All right. Depending on your language, sometimes this can be really difficult, especially in languages like Arabic, where people often repeat pronouns after nouns. Like, for example, my coffee, it's cold. Here, it is the same meaning as coffee, But in American English, we don't say this. I'm gonna strike through this in a moment. Yeah, we don't say this. Instead, we're just gonna say, my coffee is cold. Because coffee, what happened here? So coffee is the same meaning as the word it. And in American English, we only have to say the subject one time. We don't have to repeat it. But in other languages, sometimes you do. So that's why it can be a little confusing. And in other languages like Spanish, sometimes you don't have to say a subject at all. But in English, we always need a subject, and we always need exactly one subject. So good, very good. Okay, back to prepositions. Let's see. Oh gosh, there's so many comments. Oh, you guys are so good. Okay. So awesome. And welcome, Chaminda. Thank you very much. We have a few other examples. Let's see. Chari asked, if I'm studying any language and someone asks me, what level are you? How can I respond? I'm on or in level 5, or I'm level 5. Oh, that's a great question. So for this, oops, here we go. We can say, I'm in level 5, or I'm level 5. Because here we're not talking about levels like a building. If you're talking about your study level or your academic level, we're going to say in or no preposition. That's a good question. All right. Let's see, Diari asked, do we pronounce the H in vehicle? So, yes, we do pronounce the H in vehicle, but it's small. It's a very small sound. So, vehicle. The H is very soft, vehicle. So we do pronounce it, but it's a very small sound. Let's see. Nor asks about avenue. Avenue is just a kind of street, like a street or a road. It's just another word for street or road. Good. All right, we have some more examples. Yay, examples. Okay, we have the dog is on the floor. The coffee is on the table. My laptop is on the table. Very good, very good. She forgot the mobile phone on the table. Just say my mobile phone or her mobile phone. Good. He saw me on a cool morning in spring. Very good. There we're talking about time, and we'll talk about time more in a few minutes. But good job, Robbie. Good. Adam wrote an example here. Let me copy this. I am on the process of studying prepositions of place. Here we're going to change on to in, because for a process we're going to say in the process. Do you remember last time we said in the middle of something? Anytime we're talking about in the middle of something, we can say in. We could also say I am in the middle of studying prepositions of place. So if you're in the middle of something or you're in the process of something, then we can say in. Very good. All right. So Kim says on the way. Very good. Good job. All right. What else? What else? On the brink, because the brink is like the edge of a surface. Very good. My rug is on the floor. Coffees are grown up on the Brazilian grounds for centuries. Good. Let me write that one here. So coffee. And coffee is a non-count noun, so we're going to use a singular verb because we can't count coffee. So we're going to say coffee is, and we can just say grown. We don't have to say grown up. Grown up is for people when we get older, when we age. But if we're talking about like a crop or a vegetable, then we just say grow. So coffee is grown on the Brazilian grounds. Oh, 4 centuries. Oh, let me change this then, because 4 centuries is a period of time. So let's use present perfect. Coffee has grown on the Brazilian grounds for centuries, because this sentence is present perfect duration, which is something we'll talk about in the future. So good, very good. There are beautiful flowers on the ground. The pillows are in the bed under the blanket. Very good job. Let's see, I am on my bicycle, driving on the main street. Oh, good, good, good. When I was in the bed, I might have kept my phone on the bed. Ooh, very nice, Nitesh, very good. The coffee shop is on the 5th Avenue. Very good. Oh, welcome, Akram. Your phone is above your coffee. So good. The French Leo said above. Over and above are very, very similar. So over and above are very, very similar prepositions, because over doesn't touch, doesn't contact, and above also doesn't touch, doesn't contact. So good, good job. Over and above are very similar. Good, the show must go on. Good, the lamp is over the floor. Ooh, Raphael, let me write that one. The lamp is, I wouldn't say over the floor, I'd say on. If it's touching together. If it's maybe connected to the wall, then we could say this. The lamp is on the wall over the floor. Because the part that it's touching, we're going to say on, but if it's just over and not touching, then we'll say over. So good, very good. So Robbie asked, what is the difference in above and over in your example? Can we use above? Oh, the same question as the French Leo. Over and above are pretty much the same. We could use them both here. The only difference is they're used in like different idioms and different specific expressions. But when we're talking about place, over and above are pretty much the same. So good question. There's a party on the beach. We're working on the laptop. Yeah, work on, good, is as an expression, very good. Work on is a phrasal verb. Gosh, so many good ones. Okay, we're gonna stop there, so we'll have time to talk about some more prepositions. We're gonna talk about just a few more prepositions of place, and then we're gonna move on to time. It seems like you understand on very well, so let's move on to a few more prepositions of place. All right, so these ones are very common. The first one is behind. This is not the best picture. The other pictures are much better, but behind is like back here. So for example, my phone is behind my head. Okay, but this one, it's a little hard to see that this is behind. It looks a little more like next to, but behind is like this. So my head is here, my phone is back here. You can't see my phone because it is behind me. Here's above, just like over. Above and over mean that they're not touching. Not touching. beside, next to, and by are all very similar. So for example, I have my phone, I have my coffee cup. I can say the phone is next to the coffee cup. I can also say the phone is beside the coffee cup. And I can also say by. The phone is by the coffee cup. All three of these we can use to talk about two things that are side by side. So beside, next to, by are all used for side by side. All right. We have under and below. So under and below. So under and below are almost the same. There is a small difference. So below is like the opposite of over or above. Below is not touching. For example, I have again my phone, my coffee cup. So my phone is below my coffee cup. They are not touching, not touching. Under is more general. It doesn't matter if it's touching or not touching. So I can say under for like this. Here we go, see touching? Or this. No problem. The coffee cup is, the phone is under the coffee cup. The phone is under the coffee cup. No problem. It's more general. But below, no touching. All right, good. A couple more. We have between. Between is like in the middle of two things. And it's always exactly two. So here in the picture, we have two boxes. And the ball is in the middle. So we say the ball is between the boxes. Or for example, I need a few things here. Okay. I can say the phone is between Nicole and the cup. If you want to talk about more things, not just two, we use a different word. We use among or amongst, and I can write that word for you. Let's see. So for example, we could say the ball is among or amongst the toys. So there's many, many, many toys, and maybe the ball is in the middle. Then we say among or amongst. But if you're talking about two things, then we have to say between. All right. In front of is the opposite of behind. So in front of, behind. In front of, behind. Good. So those are all the other prepositions of place that we're going to talk about today. Let's review one more time. We have in front of, between, under or below, beside, next to or by, above, and the picture's not great for this one, but behind. All right. So let's go to our notes, and then I'll see if we have any questions in the chat. All right, any questions or any good examples? I'll scroll down here. All right. So I can write any notes. Okay. So many comments. Wow. Okay. So Stephen says above means something is not directly over something. So we can use that. Like we could say above right here. And it doesn't have to be directly over. That's right. Above can mean here, or here, or here, or here, as long as it's higher in the air than this one. So an over is more direct. There's a direct connection. Above is like generally higher up in the air. That's true. And over is more directly over. So good. Although above doesn't have to be not directly over, if that makes sense. It's just that over must be directly over. So good. Good point, Stephen. Let's see. Good. So Rosa asks, how can I differentiate between on as a preposition of place and when it is with a verb to form a phrasal verb? Ooh, very good question. So the prepositions of place usually focus on the surface or the outside of something. So for example, you get things like on the table, on the desk, on the door. So if the noun afterward is a location and the location is a surface, it's probably going to be a preposition of place. With phrasal verbs, it's really tough. We really just have to learn them sort of one by one. Like we have phrasal verbs like work on, or get on, or move on. And it can be really tough, especially with ones like this or this, which are transitive. So we use an object directly afterwards, like work on the project, or get on the bus. So it's really difficult in sentences like this or phrases like this to know if this on is part of the prepositional phrase for a preposition of place, or if it's part of the phrasal verb. So in cases like this one, work on the project is not a physical object with a surface, so it's clear that work on is a phrasal verb. But this one, get on the bus, so on the bus, it is a place. And then get on kind of means like enter. So in this case, it's really difficult to determine. Luckily, it's not necessarily important in this particular sentence to know the difference between the phrasal verb and the preposition of place. But you're right, Rosa, it's just really tough. Mostly, you'll get it by learning phrasal verbs one by one. And the other way is trying to identify if the object is a place and if it's a place that has a surface. All right, good question. So let's see. So the French Leo asks, what is the difference between next to and near? Next to and near. So next to means side by side. So not in front, not in back, side by side is next to. Near means opposite far. So near can be next to, near can be in front of, near can be behind. It just means not far. So I'll write that down. So near means not far. Next to means like side by side. So good question. All right. So close to is the same as near. Good. All right. So we have some examples, lots of examples, like next to my mom, beside the coffee cup. Very good. Very, very nice. Beneath and underneath, someone asked about that. Let's see, beneath and underneath. Beneath, beneath is a little bit more similar to below, and underneath is a little bit similar to under. Really, beneath and below have basically the same meaning, and under and underneath have basically the same meaning. So good question. Those are synonyms. Behind the scenes, very nice. Okay, we have a question about out of and through. Let me write those down. All right. Out of is the opposite of into. Oops. Opposite of into. And we talked about into last time. Into is like in plus the motion to. So I can say I put my hand into my coffee cup. So it means I in plus the motion to, into. Out of is the opposite. I take my hand out of my coffee cup. So into and out of are opposites. Through is like between plus movement. So again, we're adding movement to the preposition. So let's see. It's a little hard to demonstrate this picture when I'm sitting down here. Oops, let me put this in my other hand. Okay. So we can say my phone, here we go, my phone is between coffee cup and Nicole. If we go like this, the phone moves through Nicole and the coffee cup. Through. It's like between plus movement. Between plus movement. Good question. All right. So Melina asked about on or onto. We did talk a little bit about that last time. So again, on is like this. There's no movement. Onto, we just add movement. I put the phone onto the cup. So on is on plus two. Onto. So it's just with movement. That's all. So good. Oh gosh, such good questions. Lots of great examples. Let's see, I think I got all the questions. Oh, someone asked about what is the opposite of onto? Oh, good question. So out of is the opposite of into. Off of is the opposite of onto. So I put it onto the cup. I take it off of the cup. Onto, off of. So good question. I think I hit everybody's question. Let's see, across the street or through the street. There's one more there, across the street and through the street. Across means to move from one side to the other side. And through is between. So we can sometimes use both through or across for streets. If we say, I walk across the street, it means, like this is maybe sidewalk, and then the street's in the middle. It means you move from here to here, is across. But through would be more like this direction, kind of through the street. So good. Good job. So through, if you said through the streets, maybe you're between a few streets. Good, good, good. So Vivek, did you have a question? Oh, because I said someone asked. I'm sorry, Vivek. I didn't say your name specifically. But yes, you asked about onto is the opposite of off of. Sometimes it's hard to see who says the questions because it's moving the whole time. The chat, it's scrolling down when people are adding things, and sometimes it's hard to see exactly who says which comment. But you're not just someone, Vivek. You are a special student that I appreciate very much for coming to all of my classes. All right, so good. Good job. I think that was all of the questions. Very nice. Okay, so let's see how much time we have. Oh gosh, we have just a few minutes left, but we can begin prepositions of time, and we can finish it next time. But let's begin prepositions of time. Here we go. So prepositions of time. We have an example here. It says here, and I'm going to take my picture out so I'm not blocking the words. It says, on Tuesday morning, I had class. In the afternoon, I studied at the library. In the evening, I went home and made dinner. At night, I watched a movie with some friends. So good, very good. Okay, bring my picture back here. The different colored words, we see on, in, and at. These are prepositions of time. So they're not talking about place, they're talking about time. So today we're going to focus on at, on, in, and then probably next time, I don't think we'll have time today, we'll also talk about when you don't need a preposition to talk about time. So we're going to start with at, then on, then in, then no preposition. So let's see how far we can get. Okay, here we go. At. So we use at with clock time. So clock time is like 3 o'clock, 8:30, noon, midnight. Noon is 12 o'clock day. Midnight is 12 o'clock night. So we use at for all of these words. 3 o'clock, 8:30, noon, midnight, 8:15, no problem. We say at for clock time. We also use at with the following time expressions. We say at night, at Christmas or Easter, and we also say at the moment. At the moment means right now. Like at the moment, I'm teaching English. So at the moment means right now. And we also say at night, at Christmas or at Easter. You can say on Christmas or on Easter if you mean the specific day. But if you're speaking more generally about Christmas time, for example, in the United States, people buy presents at Christmas. So not Christmas Day exactly, but a little bit before. So Christmas time, we say at Christmas, at Easter, and then also at night and at the moment. Okay, and I put all these in our notes. Let's see, here we go. So we use at, again, for clock time, night, Christmas, Easter, and the moment. So So let's do on, and then we'll stop and we'll talk, because on is very fast. Okay. On. We use on with days and dates. And this goes back to some of the questions students asked earlier in the lesson. So a few people, I can't remember exactly who, I'm sorry, but a few people earlier in the lesson asked about phrases like on Monday or on Sunday. And these are some other reasons why we use on. Okay, for example, on Monday, Monday is a day. On June 21st, June 21st is a date. If you're not sure what a date is a number day. So a date is a number day. So like February 3rd, July 4th. It's the number day. So days and dates, we use on as a preposition. We can say on my birthday, because birthday is a day. We can also use it for holidays, like Halloween. We can say on Halloween. Or again, we could use it for Christmas if we mean exactly December 25th, Christmas Day. We could say on Christmas Day. And then here we could say on Thursday, May 6th. If you have the date with the year, that's okay too. Like on June 21st, 1999. That's fine too. As long as you have a day or a number day, a date, we can say on. Whew. All right, let's stop for a moment and see if we have any questions in the chat. Let me go back. All right. Okay, in the afternoon, then why at night? Oh, good question, Vivek. So in the afternoon, in the morning, and in the evening are exceptions that we're going to talk about in a few minutes, but I'll scroll forward so you can see them. Like for example, in the morning or in the evening, these are special exceptions where we're going to say in. We just have to memorize those ones though. All right. So, yep, and then in the afternoon, then why at night? It's terrible. So in the afternoon, at night, with those particular times, we just have to memorize them. At night is special, and then morning, evening, afternoon, we use in. All right. So good, good, good. At is for a precise point in time. That's right, like a clock time, a precise point in time. Good. Let's see. Aaron asks, what time does afternoon time finish? That's a good question. Like, when does afternoon stop and evening begin? And there's not a clear answer. People will answer this question in different ways. When does afternoon finish and evening start? Maybe like 5 or 6 o'clock, but there's no rule. Like it's not something that you can look up, in a book, for example, or online. It's more of a feeling. So good, very good. Let's see. Oh, Nor asked about Easter. Easter is a holiday. So it's a holiday that some countries and some people celebrate. It's in the spring. So like March or April. Good. What else? So Aaron asked on White Day. Yes, because White Day is a holiday. If you don't know White Day, it's, I believe, in March 14th. Some countries celebrate White Day. It's a little bit like Valentine's Day. All right, good, very good. Let's see, at the moment, I'm watching a nice video. Oh, thank you, Mona. At the moment means right now. Very good. Let's see. Diari asks, what preposition can we use for weekend? Some people say on, some people say at, and some people say over. Ooh, good question. Let me write this down. Okay, I'll write it right here. So weekend. So on the weekend means like sometime during the weekend. So for example, what did you do on the weekend? Maybe I played soccer on the weekend. Means sometime during the weekend. If you say over the weekend, it's correct, but it has a different meaning. Over the weekend means like all of the weekend. For example, you could say, I visited my parents over the weekend. And that means all of the weekend. If you visited them just Saturday, not Sunday, then you would say, I visited my parents on the weekend. But we don't say at least in American English, we don't say at for weekend, but on and over are both okay. Good question. All right, let's see if we have any more questions here. On Tuesday, we're watching Nicole's video. Very good. I'm watching this at the moment on Friday. Good. Examples. If the day is included, it is necessary to use on. So yes, Adam, that's correct. If we're talking about a specific day, or if we say the word day, like Christmas Day, then we use on. Very good. My mother gave me a nice present on my birthday. Very good. I have been on holiday since June. Very good. All right. My birthday is on Mars 19th. Oh, Mars, we're just going to change to March 19th. But good. Good job, Stephen. All right. We can also say throughout the weekend. So Chiminda wrote that too. So throughout the weekend, I'll write that as well. Throughout the weekend. And throughout the weekend, again, means all of the weekend. So good job, everybody. Some really great points. So let's see. We're out of time for today. Let me just do a little review before we finish. So today we talked about some prepositions of time. We talked about at and on. So again, we use at for clock time, night, Christmas, Easter, and the moment. We use on for days or dates. A date is just a number day. And we'll talk about in and no preposition next time because we don't have any more time today. We also finished talking about prepositions of place. So we talked about, for example, behind, above, beside, next to, by, under, below, between, and in front of. And then we talked a lot about on. And generally we use on for surfaces, also for most vehicles, and finally for streets, roads, avenues, things like that. Wow, a lot of information today and lots of great questions in the chat. I hope I was able to answer most people's questions. So we're just about out of time for today. One last thing, I just want to remind you that if you're interested in becoming a premium subscriber, you can go to this website here, and that right now you can try 1 month for free. And premium subscribers get all kinds of cool extra stuff like quizzes and homework and video grading and things like that. All right, everybody, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again next week. Have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.